video update. I've been sick with COVID, like really bad. Picked away at this thing a couple hours a day while I was sick. It's obviously on the dyno, and it's actually been tuned. We tuned it on Saturday. I didn't want to film anything because I wanted to focus fully on tuning the car. We ran into an issue with the alternator wouldn't charge. Got another alternator, put it in, still wouldn't charge. Got a third alternator, put it in, now it's charging. Did many pulls. The car started off NA at about 200 horsepower, and then we hooked up the charge pipe, and we ended up at 289 horsepower on gasoline at only like 9 to 10 pounds of boost. Now we have to remember, this is a really tiny turbo, like super tiny. So it's not gonna make outrageous numbers, but it spools up really fast. We're getting full boost at a little under 3,300 RPM, which is absolutely fantastic. The car makes peak torque around then too, so it's gonna be nice and zippy on the street. I'm gonna do another pull before I take it off the dyno to confirm those numbers. And then the plan is, put it back in the lift. I gotta fix the brakes because they're really squishy for some reason. Hook up the brake lights, and then we're gonna take this thing on its first street drive. It is registered. Take it on its first street drive and dial that tune in. As soon as that's dialed in, we're gonna go ahead and put ethanol in it and tune it on ethanol. The goal is over 300, which you will very easily do on ethanol. I don't think I'm gonna put much more boost into it. This is a 100,000 mile engine, so I don't wanna be putting a ton of boost into this thing because I don't wanna put a connecting rod out the block. I want them to be able to enjoy it for like at least the winter, and then next year we'll put a built engine in it and really turn the boost up with a bigger turbo. So the ethanol, we're just gonna throw a couple degrees of timing at it, and that's it. So, but we got all our ready boost clamps on, the intercooler's hooked up. I got to clean up the boost controller. We set that up while it was on the dyno being tuned, so ignore that. The Mishimoto catch can just came in, so we got to put that on. But it drives great on the dyno. We'll see how it drives on the street, but it's pretty rowdy. So I'll do a pull in it so you guys can get a shot of, get a sight of that, and then figure out what's going on with the brakes. And hopefully in this video, we'll be taking it on a cruise. The weather's a lot better today than it was when we tuned it the other day, and it picked up quite a bit of horsepower, and I double checked that our run information is accurate. We got 80 degrees, 66% humidity. So the car was hot when we were doing it before, obviously. That's a pretty substantial pickup. Cool. Just to clarify, it picked up quite a bit of horsepower. When we tuned it the other day, we were at it for 4 or 5 hours. So the car was really hot. So it makes sense that, you know, first pull while the car is pretty much cold, it'll pick up a ton of power. So I guess 300 as the goal was already surpassed. So I guess we'll just see what the ethanol gives us when we do it. But tune has been verified, data log looks good. So we're gonna go ahead, pull this off the dyno, button up the stuff so it can go for a drive. There, we made it, a couple miles. Talk about it more when I get back. So just got back from the drive. It was quick, 15, 20 minutes. The car drove fine. The alignment's way off, which we knew was gonna happen because the geometry has been all changed. But major issue, I couldn't hear a damn thing because the exhaust is banging against the drive shaft. So that's got to get rectified. And then there is a god awful squealing noise coming from up here, which I think it might be the belt rubbing against that bolt right there. I think that's it. The weird part is the squeaking goes away once I'm in like first or second gear. It only happens third, fourth, and fifth. So I'm not entirely sure what that's about. I got on it a teeny bit to get it up to speed. Again, the tune's not done on the street, so I didn't want to go too hard, but it's got some low-end torque, let me tell you, combined with how light the thing is. So that would be a success. Definitely have to fill that hole in. It is ungodly amounts of heat coming from that. My hand was like burning on the shifter, so that's not a big deal. Just make a plate for that. But otherwise, I call that a great success. We just got to fix the exhaust issue, which that was aggressive. And also have an issue where when I hit the brakes and the brake lights come on, the car's voltage drops like significantly. I have it wired direct with no relay. I'm thinking that might be why it's doing that. So just gonna have to look into that. It was just enough to get me so I could drive it, because I need lights. That's what that white wire is for the brake lights. But it drove pretty good. What's funny is the sway bar, the mounts are actually 3D printed plastic, just as temporary ones. They held up fine. Took some pretty hard turns, and the car felt stable. Well, as stable as a car with really messed up geometry can be. But yeah, so tomorrow we will address the exhaust problem, start working on the lighting, the rest of the lights, the headlights and all that stuff, and put the catch can in, and this thing will be ready to go.